if your brand is defined, developed, and displayed, it helps you be more defined in your daily tasks. Most importantly, it dials in your messaging so you know who you're attracting.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand.
We're going to talk about mass confusion today, right? And it's something nobody ever wants in their life. So
The masters of mass confusion.
The masters of mass confusion. So the question we have for you is your brand, or lack thereof, bless your soul, right? Is it creating more confusion than clarity? Well, it's so easy to get lost in today's competitive sea of sameness, where the cost of confusion can't even be calculated. Right. If you don't have a well-defined, developed, and displayed personal brand, it can cause mass confusion in two areas. And we're going to share those two areas with you today, as well as the most important thing, how do you fix that?
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about confusion of growing a company, actually taking a company from a thought process to a true ideal to it growing into something that is much larger than me. Okay. And I was confused, and many of y'all are in the same place.
Yep. I thought, it's really up to me to present myself differently from anyone else that was calling on them and asking them for their business, because it's not just about asking for business. It's about positioning yourself as someone who can help them, someone who is providing the solution. So that's how it all started. Is I was confused too at first, right? It's worse. So we're going to save you all that confusion, guys.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about the two ways that confusion manifests in terms of you and your business. Number one, if you don't differentiate yourself out there, it causes confusion with prospects, right?
That's a big deal.
It's huge, because they don't know how you're different from any of your competitors.
Right.
I was never going to be just another. I can't stand it. And I know you feel that way too. So, and this means, what that means, unfortunately, is the perception of the prospect or the customer, it automatically reverts to that lowest common denominator. Because people are they're not naturally positive about any industry, especially sales. If they don't know where you fall in the order of people in your industry, they lump you in with all the rest of them unless you give them a reason not to. But if you get your brand dialed in and it's well developed, displayed, it helps you overcome this confusion. I'll share one more quick example, and then Michael will share with you the second way that it really confuses people if you don't have everything dialed in. So one beautiful lady came to me. She came through our BrandFace program, and she was a real estate agent in Texarkana. And she said, look, Tanya, she said, I'm very serious about my craft. I really, really want to help people. And just by the nature of how helpful I am and nurturing I am to people, I've ended up with a lot of people that need the extra help. And that's really not what I want for me. I want to be this professional that also works with other professionals that don't need hand holding. Their credit's decent. They know what they're looking for. They appreciate what I bring to the table, and they let me do my job. And that's not always happening with the people that I've been attracting into my life and business lately. So how do I fix that? Right. And so when we dialed that brand,
we know the answer.
We know it. She came on one of our Be Bold Branding podcast episodes after she came through the program, got her brand dialed in, and she said, I love my new brand because it helps me say no. Because she had a hard time, like many of us, saying no. We all
and the first thing she did was coming to us. She had her ideal customer defined herself. She had already figured out who she wanted to go after. That's so important. Define.
It is it's so important. But don't worry if you don't have that yet, because we actually do help you do that. So when she got that dialed in, guess what it helped her do? It helped elevate her in that sea of sameness. She was no longer the same. It helped people understand why they should choose her over somebody else. Told them in so many words, right, in the image that she put forth and the message that she put forth, that whether they were a fit or they were not a fit, not in a negative way, but just whether they were a fit or not a fit. So, and it helps them see their perfect fit, right? So it causes prospects to view you as more seriously as a professional. So that's the number one thing. It causes confusion with your prospects if it's not dialed in, and it's an easy fix.
And if your prospects are confused, guys, then you've lost right off the bat. That's why you can't get your ROI on your marketing to work out in your favor. The second way is it's confusion in your own direction. I had this in my own, my own life, when I told you that I learned the principles from her, and then we began to define, develop, and display, and it really made a difference on our direction once we figured those things out, right? So if your ideal customers are not defined, like we were talking about Jacqueline the other day, or just a while ago, she was telling us about, I want to work with X type of people. That's what you do. You define that ideal customer. And also, if your point of differentiation is not clear, how on earth does your people know who to call and contact and why? And how do you transform your marketing and target it towards those people that you want to work with? You have to do that thinking on your part, right? But in this confusion of our own direction and also the industries as a whole, because a lot of platforms tell you, hey, we'll help you build your brand, and they're not there to build your brand. They're there to help you promote your brand. We're the only company comprehensive across the globe that actually builds that brand for you. Then you can go promote that. And that once you have that brand defined, now you know the direction that you're going, just like Jacqueline did. You end up attracting people you'd rather not work with. I remember at one time our marketing was messed up, and we were getting like hundreds and hundreds of calls on rentals and rent to own and things like that. When she scrubbed our website and found a lot that our actual brand was not getting built towards the ideal customer we were looking for, it was attracting a lot of other things that we were not set up to do. I didn't have the force to do. It wasn't that we didn't want to work with them. That wasn't our direction. But if your brand is defined, developed, and displayed, like what we talk about, it helps you be more defined in your daily tasks. Most importantly, and what I love about it is it dials in your messaging so you know who you're attracting, right? And you can start to get rid of the people, like Jacqueline said, I can say no. And then that gave her focus on who she can say yes to, which is really important. All right. And then when you understand these things, your messaging to your ideal customer will get your customer to return to you, which is what you want. It doesn't matter how many times people see you. If it don't register to them how that's important to them, your ROI is never going to work on your marketing. And when that doesn't work, you go to work every day confused on your own direction. What am I supposed to do today? And when you hire a coach, that's the first thing they're going to tell you. What's your calendar? What's your schedule? What are you doing that is moving you forward on steps, right? Build your brand. And that's another soldier building those steps ahead of you.
Yeah, because those two things, the way confusion manifests in your life is it confuses your prospects. They don't know who to choose. It confuses your overall brand direction. Where are you going from here? All that comes down to your brand. And that's that 3D process: define, develop, and display. I'm going to take them one by one, super brief. Number one, define your ideal customers and what sets you apart from everybody else.
Second, develop every branding element you need to get your story out there. Don't fall in the trap of the three amigos. I've got a photo, I've got a tagline, and I've got a logo. Those are just branding elements. You have yet to build your brand. That's not even a full part of the skeleton, to be honest with you. You need to think about your elevator pitch, your biography, your branding images, the right and correct photos of yourself that portray the words, right? A picture's worth 1,000 words. It has to be the right picture with the right words, and much, much more. Like at BrandFace, we look at 77 different criteria to build a person's personal brand.
Yep. And finally, that third D, display your brand correctly and consistently. Literally everywhere. We were just talking about this in a Wednesday webinar that we do for all the agents inside of our real estate program. And we were talking about the fact that a brand, yes, it is built over time, but it does not take a long time to build a brand. I disagree with anybody who says that. And I'll tell you why. Your brand is built with every impression. Every post you put out there, every video that you do, every email you send, every blog post you have, every time you put your photo out there, every postcard, every flyer,
note,
you name it, every
handshake,
every
event
business
that
card
you go to. Yep, you're building that brand second by second by second by second by every impression.
And imagine for a moment if every time you put impression out there, if it was totally different. if it was like, oh, I stand for this today, and I sold this house yesterday, and I worked with this person the day before. You want to have a consistent message that basically sticks in the mind. People need to see the same message and image over and over and over again before it really resonates in the brain.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not talking about the exact same photo of you in the same pose or the exact same background, image. I'm talking about a small collection of those things so that they see the face, they see the overall look and feel, and the message to them is exactly the same. So we went a little over time today, but I got really passionate.
That's all right. She's been preaching all day, folks.
I have.
She has.
I preached for a good 30 minutes straight on that last one. On the last webinar we did. Anyway, I'm so happy to have you guys along with us. And if you have any questions about your own brand, head to discussyourbrand.com and kind of choose the direction you want to go in, and jump on the phone with us, and let's talk about it and see what you're looking to achieve, what the challenges are that are keeping you from achieving that, and how we can help you get where you deserve to be, guys.
Yep, totally free. Hey, listen, guys, it's all about prosperity. That's why we do this. But when we talk about prosperity, we're not just talking about money. That's just one part of prosperity. We're talking about the 360 of an abundant life that we truly wish for all of you. Okay. But we know here at BrandFace that prosperity favors the bold. So we say be bold, especially with your brand. And thank you, Ms. Tom.
Thank you, Michael. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Brought to you by BrandFace, the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.